Alright, so this is going to be my review of DC Universe. Technically, it should be called Justice League Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep, we're doing back-to-back crossover reviews. This was another comic that was sent to me by my friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. And yeah, so we're going to talk about this. And if you're wondering why I don't have the comic in my hand, I kind of left it somewhere, and now I have to go get it later. Anyway, but I did read through the book, and yeah. So this was probably the most unique crossover, and this is one of the... let me back up for a second. This was pretty much one of the most unique crossovers out there, and yes, it did spawn a toy line and whatnot. But, yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I guess, DC's so open for crossovers, it was kind of like it was inevitable that Sonic would get a crossover with IDW. And this is IDW era's first crossover, and of course it's with DC. I think we're all kind of... Now, I do want to preference, I'm not a big Sonic guy. I do have enough knowledge of Sonic to understand this book. And also, I was just interested to see where it would go. And I will say that if and when they do TMNT Sonic, everyone has wanted Sonic Ninja Turtles. I'm shocked that hasn't happened yet. I'm legitimately surprised that hasn't happened yet. In any capacity, is TMNT Sonic, because everyone has been begging for that. Everyone, and that would be in-house, technically. They'd still have to go through Sega and Paramount to do that, but still, that'd be in-house. They wouldn't have to share the profits a lot. But yeah, maybe this is testing ground for, new new Sonic crossovers. Who knows, maybe we could get Godzilla versus Sonic. Which, I say that, and I don't know how that would work, but because there's also a contract. Because for those who don't know, and I'm sorry I'm going on a tangent, but there's a contract that Godzilla can't lose. Toho has told IDW, and I think it applies to Legendary Comics too, that Godzilla cannot lose a fight. It's kind of like Vin Diesel or Dwayne Johnson, where they literally have it in their contract they can't lose the fight. Sonic, apparently, after the whole thing with Ken Penders, which that's a barrel of monkeys I don't even... that's a can of worms I don't want to open. But after the whole thing with Ken Penders, IDW and Sonic had to have a big conversation. And one of those is that Sonic contractually cannot lose a fight. So I don't know how that would work when you have if you do a Godzilla versus Sonic crossover, you inevitably have to have Godzilla and Sonic fight, and one of them's got to lose that fight. And now you could probably still do that fight, have Godzilla. Have Sonic go supersonic, and it turns into a draw. That could easily be the case. I mean, they did that with Godzilla versus Thor. It was there was no winner. You don't know who the winner was. So maybe that's the best way to do it, but I know Godzilla and Sonic fans would not want that. They want a definitive winner. So having said all that, let's talk about this crossover. And yes, it is technically called DC versus Sonic. I mean, DCX Sonic. That's what I meant to say. I really am just going to call it Justice League Sonic, because that's what it really is. Basically, the story from the get-go, it just hits the ground running. First page, Sonic and friends see Darkseid coming into the Sonic universe, and everyone's all hands on deck, and immediately the Justice League's already there. This comic just immediately, there's no setup. The setup is go. That is the story. Basically, Darkseid has arrived in Mobius, or Earth, or whatever the hell you want to call it, to take possession of the Chaos Emeralds. And in doing so, the Justice League followed Darkseid and his minions into the world, the Sonic universe. From there, however, it's not even oh, I don't know you, you don't know me, let's fight. It's more the Justice League are we're here, we followed Darkseid, he can't get these Chaos Emeralds, and you guys seem like good guys, let's team up. I will also say that this is written by Ian Flynn, who has been writing these Sonic books, and on top of that, the other major aspect is that he also wrote the MLP Transformer crossovers, and Ian Flynn, I'm aware, in the Sonic fandom is known as mediocre at best. I don't have a problem with him as a writer. He's not great. he's not awful either. I have read some bad, some really bad crossover comics, and while the two MLP Transformer crossovers don't really have a solid story, it's more like an anthology with a loose story in between. Here it's a more solid story, and at least here everyone feels like they're written pretty well. Like, everyone feels like they're written as the characters you would expect them to be. There are some childish lines here and there, Superman especially feels like he's over-explaining stuff, but at the same time, the characters that it's very clear that Flynn likes to write are Batman, Wonder Woman, and Cyborg for the DC side. I'm also expecting that whole thing with Batman and Shadow. That whole thing is who did you lose? Batman's talking shit, who did you lose? And Batman, Shadow's her name was Maria. I lost her to the military. And Batman's that's rough, buddy. But we need to team up. Okay. That's the whole thing. The comic also does have the whole Flash versus Sonic debate, and they're always neck and neck. But it's kind of it's always in the background. I will call extended BS when in halfway through the book, it basically has the Justice League during a battle with Darkseid. They send the Sonic and his friends to the DC universe, where they basically dress up as the DC superheroes. That wasn't really necessary, but it sells toys, right? And they go fight respective enemies of the Justice League, who are all enhanced with the other 6 Chaos Emeralds, because Darkseid had 1. So they're all fighting, right? It's all fun enemies, although I don't know why they had Grodd fight Amy when she's supposed to be Wonder Woman. You couldn't have Cersei or something. I don't know. But the one I call BS on especially is the whole thing with Reverse Flash fighting Sonic, and Reverse Flash can't outrace Sonic. That doesn't make any sense because he literally feeds off the Speed Force, even if the Flash isn't there. Now, you can make the argument, because Sonic isn't really connected to the Speed Force, he's not really feeding off of it. But the Speed Force is still around, and there are other speedsters, even in the universe, he's siphoning from. On top of that, you could make the argument, Sonic had the he stole the Chaos Emerald, so that gave him the extra speed. I don't know, that feels kind of loose. Yeah. But whatever. It's a fun crossover. And I don't know who this comic is written for, because you could easily give this to a child, but there are literally moments where people hell and damn are used in the book, and I'm you just slipped in, and I get it. Kids aren't exactly pure angels, most of them, but it's kind of hard to tell who this comic is really for sometimes. I will admit, I did have fun reading it. That's the biggest takeaway, is that this comic was fun. It did the thing we don't normally see, hey, the Justice League's in the Sonic universe, and we also get BS of Batman fighting Metal Sonic and beating Metal Sonic. That should have been Cyborg, if I'm being honest, but whatever. Yeah, and also, for some reason, I'm happy Ian Flynn used Fat Lex Luthor. I've kind of missed Fat Luthor. But yeah. All in all, it's not bad. It's actually pretty fun. It's a crossover that does it, the TMNT Naruto one was just go from the get-go, but here it had one extra issue to really breathe, and it actually tied up really well. I enjoyed this. I really did like the outcome of this crossover, even though I'm not the biggest Sonic guy. I would be down for a sequel, which, of course, they do sequel bait, but, yeah. If you're a Sonic fan, if you're a DC fan, I'd say give this a look. It's nothing big. It's nothing like a crisis-level event, but, well, they do call it the Chaos Crisis, but still. This is not a deep crossover. But if you just want to be Sonic's fighting Joker, awesome, here's your book. I recommend this. So, Chris, thank you once again for this crossover. And you guys let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of, I'm just going to call it Justice League Sonic. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.